Hi, so I'm going to do a couple more film recommendations. And before I start, I wanted to say that these are films that I actually am going to recommend you not see, even though there was a good amount of, hype drummed up about them. The first one is the new Robin Hood that just came out this last year, starring Russell Crowe and Kate Blanchett and, a whole host of other actors. Um, the casting was okay. The action was well executed. The budget was clearly, well spent. They didn't chintz out on anything. Uh, and they did an interesting job with the writing so that it was kind of rewritten to be a little bit more historically accurate as much as they could make it. And uh, in the end, though, I actually ended up falling asleep during it. And this should not happen during an action, you know, medieval war movie. I should be on the edge of my seat, ready for more. Um, but I was tuning it out. I was, not finding myself really drawn into it, unfortunately. Um, it just wasn't a very good movie. Uh, there, I got it on Netflix, um, on DVD, to watch, and I actually just sent it back today, and it just wasn't any fun, which you won't hear me say too much about movies that I choose to see. But this one, there wasn't really that much to appreciate about it other than what I already mentioned. Um, it it has good music and it features, like I said, a really good cast. They do their jobs really well. It just doesn't work as a film. It's an overdone, dried up idea for a film uh, that really takes way too much brand recognition to try and uh, sell theater tickets. Um, I would say that's kind of like what happened with Sherlock Holmes, except that they kind of tried to make the new Sherlock Holmes movie with Jude Law and Robert Downey Jr. They tried to make that more of a thinking man's movie as well as an action movie, um, and give it a bit more excitement. Actually, I should toss that in as one that I do recommend you go out and see. Um, I got a chance to check it out over winter break, and it was a lot of fun. So I would recommend that one instead if you have to see, something that's another in a long string of films. They've honestly done so many Sherlock Holmes films by this point, you could watch almost any one of them and find something to enjoy, um, whether it's old school or more modern. Uh, of course, the PBS versions are um, some of the most highly acclaimed ones, the ones produced for the BBC and PBS Mystery. So anyway, uh, Robin Hood just falls flat, unfortunately. So I don't really recommend you see it. If you're really into the Robin Hood legend, okay. If you're really into um, like medieval history, I don't think you'll enjoy it. Uh, it features some rather questionable fighting vehicles used for a French invasion on the beaches of Britain that basically look like um, ships from D-Day in World War II. Not even kidding, right down to the ramp, and they evidently got rowed up, you know, with oars by the troops inside, and then they would climb off and do this. And evidently, it's similar to boats that they actually had, but I'm guessing that such boats were a rarity, just because um, specialty ships like that are expensive and costly to make. And yes, you can have a quick deployment, but a lot of troops um, would try and stage a battle at a specific field. just so that they could minimize damage to the land that they were trying to conquer. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. That's a history lesson for another video. Um, the next thing that I'm going to recommend that you don't see is Winter's Bone. Now, this was actually nominated for some Academy Awards recently, and I don't think they won. I'm not sure. I don't watch the Emmys because I don't rely on, you know, a award ceremony to really determine whether or not a film is good. I've mentioned in the past films like Amadeus winning awards, but that's really just icing on the cake. If it's already a good movie, then that's all that matters to you. If you like it, then fine. If other people don't like it, that doesn't matter. That's what they call a cult movie, where it appeals to a certain group of people. I knew a girl whose boyfriend liked uh, Cool as Ice, starring Vanilla Ice, more than anything in the world, and most people can't stand watching it. Again, it's a cult movie. But aside from that, Winter's Bone tells the tale of a girl who's 17 and is a high school dropout. Uh, she dropped out to take care of her two younger siblings and her mom, who went crazy after an unsuccessful marriage. She lives out in the sticks uh, of Missouri and uh, is basically trying to track down her father, um, who disappears, and is they have the police have a warrant out for his arrest because he uh, is a drug dealer and everything. So she goes around to all these people who are somehow related to her in some fashion, and uh, meets like nothing but hostility because uh, they think she's talking to the law, when really what it is if he doesn't turn up somehow, dead or alive, then they're going to take the one thing that her and her little ragtag family have. The mother's catatonic, so she can't do anything, and the children are still in elementary school. And the one thing they have is their homestead and their trees, their land. So, there's nothing really she can do. Uh, so she's trying to track the father down, and everyone's trying to convince her, oh, he's dead, oh, you're never going to find him, you better give up or we're going to get you. And mind you, these are her relatives. Um, there's a good amount of violence in the film, a good amount of threats of violence in the film. It's very upsetting. It's evidently not got all the, it evidently doesn't have all of the subtle um, hints that that the novel had, such as a lesbian relationship involved in the main character's life. But, what are you going to do? America doesn't really like lesbian relationships tossed into the middle of things, um, even though I think it rounds out the character a little bit more and explains a good deal. Um, Also, there's an element in the story where she's trying to join the army just so that she can get her you know, little brother and sister, although in the novel it's two little brothers, away from this society. Um, so I don't really recommend you go out and see that. Uh, go check out the new Sherlock Holmes movie if you haven't seen it already, and check out any of the other movies that I recommend to you in this video series. Some of them are available here on YouTube, and I'll see you next time on film recommendations. Bye bye.